Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello, welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Stokely Marshall. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you are overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you are in the UK, 0330-332-6541, or join us by the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live in the main watch, National Prayer Vigil. And in the second watch, International Human Rights Day, December 10th, from a Christian perspective. For our social media question, we ask, how do human rights differ for a Christian? Share your responses on our Facebook or YouTube Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes to 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your comments later on the program, but first, here's I quote.
On December 12, 2021, the Mandeville Ministers Fraternal will bring you its 29th National Prayer Vigil at the Fellowship Tabernacle Church in Manchester, starting at 6 p.m. under the theme Justice, Unity, Healing and Peace. Join Patron Governor General the Honorable Sir Patrick Allen and keynote speaker the Right Reverend Gary Harriott for a time of togetherness and peace among families. The National Prayer Vigil will be live on Love 101 FM and on our social media pages. Listen for the divine service from the Anglican Diocese at 5 p.m. immediately before, and stay with us for the National Prayer Vigil at 6 p.m. right here on the family station, Love 101. People of honor, the people of glory, the people.
25, 50, 75. 25, 50, 75. Get a special Christmas advertising package on the family station Love 101 FM for only $25,000, $50,000, or $75,000 plus GCT this Christmas. 25, 50, 75. 25, 50, 75. Call our sales department for this amazing deal. Christmas advertising packages for only $25,000, $50,000, or $75,000. Only on the family station Love 101 FM this Christmas. Don't miss your opportunity. Call our sales department 876-968-9596. That's 876-968-9596.
From whitewash to hanging the Christmas lights, we've got you covered with tidbits, ideas you can use to make your place smile for Christmas. Decorate with Love this Christmas will give you hints on what you can do to spruce up the place on a budget. We'll talk with the professionals and upcoming creatives who know a thing or two. You'll hear it on the radio and see it on our social media platforms. And it's all gonna be simply amazing. Decorate with Love this Christmas, a part of our Christmas 101 givings. We're helping you do Christmas right. Decorate with Love this Christmas, Wednesdays at 11 a.m. in Morning Express on the family station, Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokely Marshall. We are in the main watch, and the 29th National Prayer Vigil is to be held at the Fellowship Tabernacle Church in Manchester on Sunday, December 12th, 2021. It happens every year, but what is this year's 2021 vigil all about, and why? We have online this morning to look at this evangelist, well-known evangelist, I will underscore, Errol Rattray. He is a public relations officer for the National Prayer Vigil of 2021. And we also have online the chairman of the Mandeville Ministers Fraternal. He is Reverend Anthony Chung. Good day, Reverend Chung, and good day, Evangelist Rattray. How are you both?
Well, I'm doing well. My brother Marshall, and good to have my brother Reverend Chung from Mandeville, cool climate, to be with us. Good morning.
Good morning. Reverend Chung, are you with us, sir, at this time? Can we hear you, sir? I don't think we have Reverend Chung on quite as yet, Evangelist Rattray. However, whilst we wait to have him on, would you like to help the listeners to understand the importance of the National Prayer Vigil? Is the 29th one to be held? The importance of this prayer vigil, and what is the significance of this one to come on December the 12th, sir?
Yes, just thank you for having us again. And just to indicate that the National Prayer Vigil really came out of a need 29 years ago when Jamaica was under serious problems. A group of us met with the then Governor General Sir Howard Cook. And
a group of us, ministers of religion, a group of us who?
Oh, church leaders, leaders from different denominations and concerned pastors and Christian leaders met with the Governor General to indicate that we feel that with what was happening in the nation, that
I'm on now. This is Reverend Chung.
Yeah. Okay, Reverend Chung. Chung is that.
Well, finish your thought, Evangelist Rattray, before we bring in Reverend Chung. Finish your thought, sir.
And so we met with the Governor General and share our concern as a nation. And as a group of concerned Christian leaders, that we need to call the nation to a time of prayer and bring to the fore 4 factors that we think we need to address. One was to deal with justice. 2 was to deal with peace. 1 was to deal with healing, because persons were being wounded, hurting, and we feel healing need to take place. And there were a lot of injustices taking place. And we felt we should address those things. The Governor General, after hearing himself, indicated he was carrying a burden also for the nation and welcomed the idea. And then he became the patron. And as of the second Sunday in every month, every year, in December, we, for the last 29, have been having these times of prayer for the nation, where we call the nation to stop towards the end of the year, look at what has been happening, but also to point that there's a God who is interested in our country, interested in our personal life or our family, and that the God factor is critical and must never be forgotten or taken out. And so we give God thanks that wisdom prevails, and it now has become a part of the national calendar. Over the years, a lot of things have taken place across, because we go across parish by parish, and the results and the response in terms of what that's done to communities or persons, and the whole question of uniting the churches and bringing into these that would make a difference in our nation has really been one of the pluses of the National Prayer Vigil. This year it's going to be in Mandeville, and we have one online, the Reverend Anthony Chung, who is the chairman of that group of ministers in Manchester, one of the fraternals. I know you tell us more about it. And so that's how it started. The Reverend Dr. Roy Henry, from the inception, have been its founding chairman. And we give God thanks that persons have shared across the nation. They are happy that we have had it, because out of it, if it wasn't for prayer, crime would have been worse, murders would have been worse. It wasn't for prayer, and we want to make the point. It's not just we at the National Prayer Vigil are praying. We are just one of the entities. And so we continue as we seek God's guidance as we go into the new year.
Reverend Anthony Chung, you're now with us, sir. Yes, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Morning. Thanks. Happy to be here.
Great. And now, as the chairman of the group of ministers in Mandeville, sir, can you assist the listeners to understand what will be the focus, particularly, of this year's prayer vigil in your parish?
Okay.
To be held.
Thank you much. Thank you much. Right. So we in Mandeville, and we've extended it to really include the entire parish of Manchester. So the Mandeville Association was approached, but we've invited our colleagues in Christiana and in other parts of the parish to join us in this effort. And what we're seeking to do is to spread this message and share this hope that we feel is necessary to help our parish and our nation to improve. So the vigil, as you have announced earlier, is at Fellowship Tabernacle in Mandeville, in Ward Avenue.
And just for clarity, sir, you're not, just for clarity, sir, you're not a pastor at Fellowship Tabernacle in Manchester, but you are from another church, but the prayer vigil is being hosted at Fellowship Tabernacle.
Yes, in terms of the physical location, it is at Fellowship Tabernacle. I am a minister in the United Church from Ridgemont, but I'm in the capacity as chair of the Ministers Association.
I see. And what will be the focus of this year's prayer vigil?
All right, Reverend Errol Ratcliffe spoke to the theme, and those things continue to be the guiding thing: justice, unity, peace, and healing. That has been the theme of the vigil, and that will be the focus again this year. There is a constant cry and the urgent need for justice in our nation. Elements of division continue to haunt us. We hear of the violence, the breaking down of relationships resulting in domestic violence within families and communities, and so peace and healing. Our particular area in terms of a response this year focuses on peace, dispute resolution, and reducing incidences of domestic violence, particularly in families. So we're lifting up that as a priority thing for us this year.
Okay, and before we head into the break, why domestic violence, and in terms of the family, such incidences within the family? Why did the special focus on that this time?
One of the things we have discovered in Manchester, there have been anecdotal evidence, and we're doing research now to confirm it. But there are lots of family violence, whether it is brother-sibling rivalry, intimate partner violence, or fighting over what's in Jamaica we call deadlift.
Reverend Chung, hold that thought 1 second, because we are now upon the break. Evangelist Ratcliffe, we know that you'll be staying with us until after the break as well. Listeners, we'll be right back in the morning.
Between 2015 and 2020, there were 74,455 reports of child abuse in Jamaica. Report child abuse. Call 211.
The time brought to you by the Child Protection and Family Services Agency is
7:15.
More than half of us agree it takes too much time to understand the Nutrition Facts Panel, but we can quickly understand that 80% of deaths in Jamaica are caused by non-communicable diseases. Without knowing, we consume excess foods high in sugar, fats, and sodium, which can lead to obesity, type 2 diabetes, and hypertension. Especially now, we need warning labels on the front of our food packages to easily identify unhealthy foods. We support front of package warning labels. We're on the side of health. Join us. Give us octagonal, high in front of package warning labels. A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
You know how Jamaican people do everything extra, right? So why should planning your retirement be any different? Introducing JNGI Silver Shield. 2-in-1 coverage for motor vehicle and home including contents. See? Extra! Imagine 25% JN member discount, emergency roadside assistance, accident forgiveness up to $1 million and more. JNGI Silver Shield. Exclusively for members of the Caribbean community of retired persons. Visit jngi.com. JNGI. We'll help you find a way. A member of the JN Group.
It's time to shake it till you make it with Digicel. We're going to make 5 random pickups in a new parish every week. You'll get 3 minutes to answer 5 questions correctly and get a guaranteed shake to win $20,000 cash or a Samsung Galaxy phone, $10,000 JPS voucher and more. Look out for the Digicel Christmas car in your town and get shaking this Christmas with Digicel. Better together this Christmas. Visit DigicelJamaica.com for terms and conditions. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Promotion valid November 26, 2021 to January 14, 2022.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on J&B Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. J&B Bank will help you find a way.
Money, money, money! We know some extra cash in your pocket this holiday season can go a far way. Grace Kennedy Money Services Western Union will deliver your wish. Receive a Western Union money transfer for your chance to win a share of $2.5 million. 100 lucky customers will receive cash prizes of $20,000 each, and 5 lucky customers will each win grand prizes of $100,000 cash. Visit gkmsonline.com for details. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokely Marshall. We are looking at the National Prayer Vigil in this May Watch. And our guests for this segment, we have Evangelist Errol Rattray. He's a Public Relations Officer of the National Prayer Vigil 2021. And Reverend Anthony Chung. He is the chairman of the Association of Ministers in Mandeville, Manchester. Now, just before the break, Reverend Chung, you were helping the listeners to understand some of the issues of import relevance to this, the prayer vigil to be held on December the 12th, Sunday coming. Now, one of the issues that arose in relation to, why what the focus is for this year is in relation to violence in the family. People are maybe, for example, fighting over what someone left behind after they passed away, etc. Would you like to continue with that, sir? Because we want to really understand, the import and the need for us to pray about these matters. Go ahead, Reverend Chung.
Yes, thank you much. Right. So we mentioned, family violence in particular. Fighting over what has been left behind. Also, parents having difficulty in raising their children and in some cases resorting to violence as a means of exercising discipline. So we want to provide some kind of response to that coming out of the vigil, both in terms of praying for peace and healing and justice, but also providing some resource and some intervention that will have impact going forward. So that is why the focus is on that particular aspect.
When you make mention of parents resorting to violence to exercise discipline, do you mean spanking?
What the experts call abuse. Whether it is verbal abuse, physical abuse. Oftentimes parents feel like they're with and not sure what to do, and they probably feel that those are the only means that they can use. So we want to be able to kind of resource them, help them, to find a way to resolve and to administer discipline.
So you're distinguishing spanking from physical abuse. So for example, spanking might mean using a ruler to hit the child in the hand, whereas a physical abuse might involve doing something so egregious that the child ends up with a swollen forehead or a cut on their skin. Is that what you're making? Is that how you're distinguishing them?
Yes, the experts have different opinions about that, but yeah, that basically, because we feel that there are legitimate ways to discipline our child without abuse, and what we want to help parents to do is to use those instead of those which cause harm to children.
Very interesting. Evangelist Rochester.
Yes, I'm here.
How do persons connect with this prayer vigil? If someone, for example, wanted to join, what are the various methods that they can use to attend, to join this experience of this prayer vigil, this very necessary prayer vigil, as you put it, sir?
Okay. One is that by way of Radio Love FM is going to be carrying the vigil to the Power of Faith at PFM, that Bishop Delbert Davies television station will be carrying it. 3 is that we are going to be carrying it by Zoom and also by YouTube, Facebook. And in terms of connecting, the Reverend Chung could maybe say something more in terms of the social media from that side. And he might want to even say some of the things that are going to happen at the vigil and those persons who are going to be involved, and the approach we are taking, whether it's virtual and also face. And we noticed that the Prime Minister just make announcement that certain things will be opened in terms of worship time-wise. So I would indicate that there are different ways. We are not going to have everybody come into the church because of the protocols and the numbers that the church can. In the past, we have the church pack out, and in the past, sometimes we have it in a park, open air, thousands of people. When we had it at King's House, it's on the lawn. So we have it in different ways. But now, because of the COVID protocol, we are using the variety of approaches. I don't know if Reverend Chung wants to jump in.
Before we go to Reverend Chung, what time on Sunday, December the 12th, will this prayer vigil, or what time is it set to commence?
It starts at 6 o'clock and it goes to 9. Just to say, when the vigil started years ago, we would start at 9 and finish at 12. And it's because of the crime and violence that we revert to and then at the time when transportation run at midnight. So we thought the wiser thing to do was to have it earlier. So we go 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock.
6 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Right.
Okay. Reverend Chung, would you like to fill us in on some of the other details in terms of how one can access the prayer vigil, and also some of the activities that are scheduled during the vigil itself?
Okay, thank you. Right. So Evangelist actually mentioned some of the media platforms or means that people can access Love FM, Power of Faith TV on cable, Zoom, and Facebook and YouTube. Those are the primaries. It's Feltab Mandeville YouTube channel that it can be accessed on. And on cable TV, it's on Power of Faith, and also a Zoom link will be available for those who want to join via Zoom.
Is there a Zoom link that you have now available, or you don't have the Zoom link at this time to share with us? Do you have a Zoom link now that you can share with the listeners?
No, it's not at this time.
Okay. Would it be?
But it is available and circulated.
It will be circulated in due course.
Right.
Yes. I see. And in terms of the prayer vigil itself, is there anything about the format or the content that you want to give us a little sneak preview from now in terms of what we can expect?
Sure. So there'll be praise, there'll be preaching, and there'll be praise. Those are the basic elements. We have as our guest keynote speaker, the Right Reverend Gary Harriott, former General Secretary of the Jamaica Council of Churches and currently serving as moderator of United Church. We have Sister Nicole Robinson as one of our music ministers. There's a young man from the Adventist Church, Master Daquan Dixon, who's a teenager, very powerful voice. The custos of our parish will bring the welcome as the first citizen. We have participation from the police and from other ministers in the parish. So His Excellency will bring greetings. Also, our national chairman will bring words of greetings as well.
Interesting. And in terms of the matter, go ahead.
I was saying maybe the Prime Minister and the Leader of Opposition, they will read lessons. And so it's a real national involvement.
Are they to read these virtually from another location, or do you expect them to be in attendance physically?
In the past, when we had we could have persons and not large numbers.
Speaking about this.
With this one, I think it's going to be that it's going to be virtually. Am I right, Reverend Chung?
Yes, that is the information of India.
Unless they call us to tell us, because at this time of the year, it might just mean that the Governor General or the Prime Minister leader might decide they want to come down. So they have that choice. So, but at this time, the plan is for it to be virtual with them.
Okay. So at this time as well, it is also expected that the Governor General might deliver his address virtually, but he might just turn up in person if he so desires.
Yes, that is his choice.
Yes, understood. And so during the prayer vigil, you'll be addressing domestic violence, issues of peace, and dispute resolution. Yes.
Well, that is actually the project that we will embark on coming out of the vigil. The vigil is devoted primarily to prayer, and then the project that will flow from it, which we've already started to work on, will address that. It's an ongoing initiative.
In a second or two, can you tell us a little bit about the project?
All right. So the project is aimed at resourcing communities and families to be able to address matters of conflict in a manner that is peaceful and provides.
Is it that social workers? Is it that social workers along with the church will be going into the communities, or the church are the one going into the communities? What's the sort of intervention expected?
Social workers, community leaders, pastors, JPs are the persons that will be involved in execution. A couple of our partners are the Manchester Peace Coalition, which has a cadre of mediators, dispute resolution personnel trained, our JPs and our pastors and church leaders are the people who will serve as resource people?
Well, more and on all of this, and we certainly wish you all the best with the prayer vigil come Sunday, and we pray that the Lord's will be done. I want to thank Evangelist Errol Rattray and Reverend Anthony Chung for being with us this morning. We're totally out of time. Very interesting discourse, and we, certainly pray God's richest blessings going forward. Gentlemen, thank you for your time and for your thoughts. The Morning Watch will be right back after this show.
Thank you.
Indeed.
Ways to win big this Christmas. The more you watch, listen, and stream with your favorite Digicel apps, the more chances you have to win from thousands of prizes. We're talking prizes of 500,000 and so much more. Not to mention a special Boxing Day prize of tickets for two to a Copa destination of your choice. Simply listen to your favorite Christmas carols in D-Music, watch movies in Playgo, or connect with friends in VIP to be a winner. Shake to win in the My Digicel app today. Digicel, better together this Christmas. Visit DigicelJamaica.com for terms and conditions. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Promotion valid November 19, 2021 to January 13, 2022.
Now with no processing fees and no down payment, it's time to open the door to your own sweet home. The time by JN Bank is 7:32.
Need to pass your CSEC CAPE exams to get that dream job or to qualify for university? Then Distinction College is the school for you. We have locations in Kingston, Spanish Town, St. Elizabeth, and Ocho Rios. Start day, evening, and Saturday classes this coming term and sit CSEC CAPE exams for January's resit or May, June. Maths, law, science, English. We have the lowest school fees. Register before the end of the month and win an entire term free. Call us at 354-8560.
Open up, this is the time of the year. Flow up and spread the Christmas cheer. To everybody, whether far or near. Flow make a Christmas sparkle around here.
Get amazing gifts when you activate a 5-day or higher unlimited data plan or add your mobile to your home internet. Check your text messages and click the link to open up your gift. From LTE tablets, supermarket vouchers, smartwatches, TVs, and much more. Get a gift every time.
Christmas comes alive. Look for your gift, them must arrive. Open your woman's internet or mobile plans and a Christmas gift text drop in your hand. Christmas have a sparkle, you know? Make it happen with Flow.
Conditions apply.
Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
211 is a hotline dedicated to reporting child abuse. It is easy to remember and accessible 24 hours a day across all networks. Report all forms of child abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional, neglect, and trafficking. Our children are depending on us to protect them. If you see something, make the call. Report child abuse. Call 211.
Did you know Breeze powder detergent is also antibacterial? Even after washing, bacteria can remain on your clothes, which can cause diseases. Breeze kills 99.9% of bacteria while removing even the toughest stains. So, really clean your clothes with Breeze.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokely Marshall. Let's now take a look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. And we have here in the Gleaner online among the latest news, very sad here. Police detain person of interest in murder of St. Elizabeth teacher. We did hear in the media that there was a certain person here who was murdered, a teacher from a St. Elizabeth teacher. Very sad indeed, and we do pray that justice shall be done in that regard. And in the Jamaica Observer, among the latest news, there is a caption here: extricate our boys from gang violence, says Central Kingston Member of Parliament. There's a photograph here of who appears to be Central Kingston Member of Parliament, Mr. Donovan Williams. Well, definitely a lot more stories in both major daily newspapers, which we invite our listeners to take a look at. Well, coming up next, we will be reading from our feedback, or the feedback we receive on Facebook and WhatsApp. in relation to the question, the feedback question, how do human rights differ for a Christian? If you haven't done so yet, leave your response in our Facebook or YouTube, Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp your comments and voice notes to 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll be right back.
Station for Christmas, Love 101.
From whitewash to hanging the Christmas lights, we've got you covered with tidbits, ideas you can use to make your place smile for Christmas. Decorate with Love this Christmas will give you hints on what you can do to spruce up the place on a budget. We'll talk with the professionals and upcoming creatives who know a thing or two. You'll hear it on the radio and see it on our social media platforms. And it's all gonna be simply amazing. Decorate with Love this Christmas, a part of our Christmas 101 givings. We're helping you do Christmas right. Decorate with Love this Christmas, Wednesdays at 11 a.m. in Morning Express on the family station, Love 101.
Get a special Christmas advertising package on the family station Love 101 FM for only $25,000, $50,000, or $75,000 plus GCT this Christmas. 25, 50, 75. 25, 50, 75. Call our sales department for this amazing deal. Christmas advertising packages for only $25,000, $50,000, or $75,000. Only on the family station Love 101 FM this Christmas. Don't miss your opportunity. Call our sales department 876-968-9596. That's 876-968-9596.
I am Adenier Jones, Executive Chairman of the Church of God in Jamaica. I have taken the vaccine. My family has taken the vaccine. The COVID-19 virus is making people very sick. All of us by now, we know someone who has died from it. The virus is having devastating effect upon the life of the nation as a whole. There is no justification from the Bible that the vaccine is the mark of the beast. There's a lot of confusion around that idea, but I want to assure you, there is no biblical grounding. So I encourage you, my friends, go and take the vaccine. Protect yourself, protect your family.
So this is Christmas.
Hello, my name is Kimlee Levy, and I am an announcer here at Love 101 FM. This Christmas, I wish for you peace, joy, and God's richest blessing. Have a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year from the family station, Love 101.
This is Christmas.
Christmas 101. Come home.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokely Marshall. We are now in the second watch. Human Rights Day is observed every year on the 10th of December, and the day on which the United Nations General Assembly adopted, back in 1948, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. But are some human rights being threatened today? How and why? Whose rights? And where do Christians see themselves in this human rights discourse? We have online today to have a conversation around this Philippa Davies. She is the advocacy officer for the Jamaica Coalition for a Healthy Society. Good day, Philippa. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Mr. Marshall. How are you? And all the best for the season, if I may.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. Grateful to have you on. And jumping right into it, some may ask, why celebrate Human Rights Day? Why, Ms. Davies, why celebrate it?
Well, as you rightly introduced the topic, it is important for us to recall and to celebrate that historic moment in December 10, 1948, where this constitution, if you will, setting out the universal goals and aspirations of humanity to ensure that every people group, regardless of language or location, would enjoy a minimum basic right to life, right to freedom of speech, right to engage in the political and social life of their nation, right to freedom of religion, all these various fundamentals that are necessary for a democratic society, a democratic engagement and participation in society. And so the Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948 laid out that foundation from which countries can then build in order to promote participation of their citizens in society.
And in terms of this year, 2021, is there any particular theme being focused on, certainly from the standpoint of the Jamaica Coalition for a Healthy Society, that you'd like to share with us?
Definitely. So for more than 6 years now, the JCHS has been recognizing International Human Rights Day with some public event in order to raise the awareness of Jamaican citizens as to the importance of human rights, how human rights are recognized and protected in our Charter of Human Rights, and also to make them aware of challenges to human rights, whether in Jamaica or across the world. So we used to have a rally and a concert at Emancipation Park, and we'd have speakers from in the Caribbean or across the world who would come and share with us. Although COVID has restricted public gathering, we still continue with the principle of raising that awareness. So we're on the virtual platform. And this year we will be having a Professor Juan Antonio de Castro, who is a professor with the University of Madrid, and he will be speaking on the topic of Keep Us Free from Evil Powers, George Soros, Globalism, and the Threat to Human Rights. And the reason why we are taking this topic is that we saw a press release earlier this year of a MOU that the University of Mona has signed with the Open Society Foundation, which is headed and funded by George Soros. And the focus that this MOU is targeted, it's targeting, in our view, an undermining of human rights, an undermining of the family as God has designed it. We saw in that MOU that Open Society has funded strategic litigation of laws that criminalize same-sex relationships. We can easily translate that into being the Buggery Law. And so if your listeners will remember that the Buggery Law has been challenged in Jamaica and a number of Caribbean nations. And it has been spearheaded by the University of the West Indies Mona Law faculty. And so it is alarming for us to think that money is being received by George Soros through the university to undermine a law that protects the family, that protects marriage, that protects children, and that is against the promotion of abnormal sexual behaviors. Why would the UA be taking money to do this? Why would George Soros be interested in the university? These are things that we want to discuss, and our presenter is an international expert on the influence of George Soros.
I'm going to ask you to hold that thought just 1 second, Ms. Davies, only because we're up on a break. Stay with us, listeners. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
At J&B Bank, we're bringing hope to you and your loved ones for the holidays. Give and receive the happiness you've looked forward to all year long. Get personal unsecured loans up to $5 million with low monthly payments, loans to boost your small business, and joy-filled rewards when you use your J&B Bank Visa credit card. So whether you're doing last-minute spending or getting ready for the new year, choose hope for the holiday. With J&B Bank, we'll help you find a way.
When it comes to your Digicel data, if you love more, you're going to love this! This Christmas, get more data and more value for the same price with Digicel Postpaid Prime Bundles. Whether you're a Digicel Prime Start, Prime Core, or Prime Plus customer, you'll get 3 times more gigs. Plus, we're adding YouTube data as a bonus. So, for the love of more, visit Digicel Jamaica eStore and sign up or upgrade your Postpaid Prime Bundle and get more with Digicel this Christmas.
Hello.
Hello.
Goodbye.
Goodbye? What are you doing?
I'm saying hello to peace of mind and goodbye to worry.
Oh, I'd like to say that too.
Well, with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider, you can secure your medical expenses in the event of critical illness ahead of time and benefit from their investment portfolio too.
Wow. So it's hello peace of mind.
And goodbye worry with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider. For more information, contact 888-367-5433 or talk to one of our representatives. Guardian Life. Live secure. Live easy.
Come home. It's Christmas all day on your family station.
Pay your water bill. Keep the benefits flowing to wash your clothes and dishes. It's a small price for a big service. That was a message from the NWC.
Welcome back to the show. We are in the second watch, and we're having a discussion here with Miss Philippa Davies. She is the advocacy officer of the Jamaica Coalition for a Healthy Society. And the topic of the second watch is in relation to International Human Rights Day, December 10th, 2021, from a Christian perspective. Before the break, Ms. Davies, you were enlightening us as to, the basis of your theme for this year. Would you like to continue?
Yes, the theme for this year's lecture on Friday, December 10, is Keep Us Free from Evil Powers, George Soros, Globalism, and the Threat to Human Rights. And this is going to be delivered on Zoom. If persons are interested, they can send me an email at Issachar Foundation Jamaica at gmail.com. Issachar Foundation at gmail.com.
Can you spell it out, Davies? Can you spell it out for them, please? Can you just spell it out for them?
ISSACHAR Foundation JA at gmail.com. It's a car foundation JA at gmail.com. Email me, I'll send you a link. It's Friday at noon. The topic is Keep Us Free from Evil Powers, George Soros, Globalism, and the Threat to Human Rights. And our speaker, Professor Juan de Castro, is a leading international expert on George Soros and other globalists like Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg as to how they overextend their influence into media, into courts, into international institutions in order to orient society towards a particular direction which undermines human rights, undermines Christian values, undermines concepts that we treasure, such as the family or the value of human life. And so it's important to understand how these wealthy individuals are distorting human rights through these various institutions of media, academia, and the courts, for example. So I invite everyone to join in on a Friday at noon to hear more about how the threat to human rights through George Soros and others like him.
I am aware of the MOU that you're referring to, And I'm also aware of the connection with the Open Society Foundation. However, you use a very strong term in relation to the Open Society Foundation, and you named some individuals on the program. Why the term evil powers? Because some persons might look at this from another angle and say, why associate what they would like to see, or what the society or the foundation would like to see, as that of evil powers? Why?
Well, the Open Society Foundation would describe itself as the world's, or one of the world's largest philanthropic organizations, promoting democracy and human rights. But the important question is, what definition of human rights? And this is why it's important for us to remember 1948. Human rights that is going to lead to human flourishing is the intention, or was the intention, of the 1948 Universal Declaration. Promotion of the value of life, of engagement in society, freedom of expression, of thought. But the way human rights is being interpreted by these globalists is to silence speech, is to restrict thinking, freedom of thought, is to destroy human life, and it is to destroy the family. That is completely contrary to what 1948 intended through that declaration. Why? Because 1948 came on the heels of the horrific tragedies of World War II, where the value of life was negated, where family was destroyed, where freedom of speech and thought was silenced. So it is contrary to have human rights been interpreted in a way that is opposite to how human rights was intended to be defined under the 1948 agreement. And so persons need to be aware of how these wealthy individuals are slowly eroding that true understanding of human rights, and doing it before our very eyes under the label of democracy and philanthropy and promoting an open society. So we have to be aware of what's obvious and what is also behind the scene, which is why we say evil powers. It may not appear that way on the face of it, because guess what? The university needs money. UE needs money. But what are the strings tied to that money when it's coming from a person such as George Soros and his organization, Open Society Foundation?
Okay. And you made mention of the term globalists. You didn't just mention one name. You mentioned about 3 names. And is it globalist versus nationalist? Globalist versus another set of persons? Why the term globalist? What is so evil about it?
They see the world as their domain for the taking, and to be able to exercise control over peoples and nations. So a Bill Gates, who is a billionaire, and a Mark Zuckerberg or a George Soros, they will use the various avenues, whether it is media or academia or international institutions like the United Nations or the European Court of Human Rights, to turn the understanding of human rights in a way that gives effect to their personal desires, but it will have impact on millions. The UN or the European Court, or through a University of the West Indies, you're reaching thousands, if not millions of persons, by the interpretation of human rights that these institutions will be held to because of these individuals, these wealthy individuals, George Soros, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, among others. But I don't want to take away from what Professor Juan de Castro is going to say on Friday. So persons, please email me, IssaCarFoundationJA@gmail.com for the link, and you will hear more. You'll hear more.
Okay. Well, we are not here saying on the station that these persons are necessarily evil. We are listening to you, Ms. Davies, and we are making note of your strong concerns, so strong that you're framed, or so strong that the theme has been framed the way it has been framed. But we here at the station cannot say that we are associating. In fact, we are not associating such strong language to these individuals, because there's clearly more that we would need to know. And we are listening to what you're saying. We're not saying that you're wrong, and we're not saying that they are wrong either. But having said that, would you like to enlighten us a little bit, Ms. Davies, in relation to how do you see the human rights climate now? It seems as if there is a distinction being made between the human rights, can I say the human rights of old, and the human rights of 2021 is, or what some would like the human rights of 2021 to be, including maybe the Open Society Foundation and other persons? Is that the distinction you're drawing, Davies?
And to say that if the outcomes, if the results of their investment and their influence on media, on institutions like a university, if the outcome of their influence is to undermine the value of life and of freedom of speech and of thought and of their family, if the outcome is to undermine it and even to destroy it, that is an evil outcome. It is not in promotion of good or the common good or the flourishing and well-being, which would be the opposite word then of evil. If the result is to undermine and to destroy, that's an evil outcome. And if their intention is to achieve that outcome,
if I could ask you to pause 1 second, I'm not here in any way ascribing any motive to anyone, but sometimes a person might be very sincere in what they're doing, but they can be sincerely wrong. So as sincere as they are, the outcome from a Christian angle may not be godly or biblical, but in their mind, they think it's a good outcome. Do you see such a possibility? In the case of the Open Society Foundation, they might think that they are being very sincere, but from a Christian perspective, it is not going to be good for the kingdom of God.
They might consider themselves sincere, but the outcomes speak. The fruit of their work will speak for itself. And this Open Society Foundation wasn't formed yesterday. They've been around for many years. And so there's enough outcomes to assess and to judge whether their intentions are pure or are not pure. And if one of your intentions is to normalize perverse sexual behaviors, it's to promote same-sex marriage. Even if you're not a Christian, there is still something as a natural law for you to say, but it is not normal, it is not natural for two men or two women to be married. That is not the definition of marriage. It is not normal for you to use the anus as a sex organ when it isn't, and the disease and other implications of it.
Remember that this is morning, Miss Davies.
And I'm saying, right, and I'm saying that you can assess, even outside of being a Christian, whether their stated intentions and the outcomes are for the good of society. And they are. And so let me leave one word though, Mr. Marshall, and this is worldview, how you see the world, how you engage with it. And if the worldview of the individual and the worldview of the institution is not promoting an end or an outcome that is for the good of citizens and of individuals, then that is an evil motivation and an evil intent that has an evil outcome.
Very interesting. And in terms of worldview, I take it that the Jamaica Coalition for a Healthy Society holds to a Christian worldview, a biblical worldview, yes?
Absolutely. And we unashamedly declare that the biblical worldview is the most coherent, best basis on which to organize society for individuals and society, whether you're Christian or not, because it is based on truth and it's based on preserving life and the fundamental pillars of society, family and life and freedom to think and to make wise choices. And we say the biblical worldview is the best basis to organize society. And this lecture will be towards establishing evidence why this is indeed so.
The biblical worldview is indeed the best one. I totally agree with you on that. Any final comments you would like to leave with us, Ms. Davies? We have a couple seconds left.
Yes, please email Issachar, ISSACHAR Foundation, JA@gmail.com for the Zoom link this Friday at noon, International Human Rights Day, December 10. Our professor from Spain, from Madrid, he'll be speaking on Keep Us Free from Evil Powers, George Soros, globalism and the threat to human rights this Friday at noon. Thanks so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Davis, for being with us. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. And thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow as we look at other topical and controversial issues. Visit Love 101 FM YouTube channel and Facebook page for this and other Love 101 FM programs. Listen to the Morning Watch on our Love 101 app. Download it today and stay connected to the family station. Love 101 FM, the #1 gospel station in Jamaica. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and to our guests, I am Stokely Marsh, handing back to Love in the Morning with Siobhan Blair.
This is Love 101, the family station, 8 o'clock, folks, and it's time for the program.